It's never happened before in Labour election campaigns. I've been in the party under many leaders. When I first became a party member, Harold Wilson was the leader of the Labour Party. I've been there through all of that. I've often disagreed with party policy. I've disagreed with the direction the party's taken. I've disagreed with the politics of individual leaders. But I've never sought to go out and defeat Labour in an election. We achieved 41% in that election. We could and should have achieved more had the party been united in at least accepting that the leadership had a case to put to the people of this country. Did I make mistakes? Of course. Everybody does. Did I make mistakes in bad faith? I don't think so. I think I made mistakes in good faith, one of which was to trust people who turned out to be... You can't rely on the mainstream media. I think it's an utter disgrace that the whip was removed from me, because our party is supposed to be a democratic party, and the authority to become MPs, to become leading figures in the Labour Party, does not come from the parliamentary party. It comes from the membership and the affiliated membership through the trade unions. That's how I was elected leader. That's how Keir Starmer was elected leader. If we're now in a position where the leader of the party will use his power over the parliamentary party to remove somebody from the whip, it's very perplexing for my constituency.
You've also said each day I try and think of ways to undermine Jeremy Corbyn.
I did say that, yes.
Well, that was a mistake, wasn't it?
Well, no, I wasn't alone amongst people who found his performance disappointing.
If he'd had your backing, he might have done a lot better.
Well, he might have done.
The BBC and others that obsessed day in, day out on my supposed deficiencies.
Just to let you know, I have to say this word, right, for educational purposes.
Myself and all my siblings, we were free school meals children.
We did it.
Shocking story.
We did it, y'all.
And I turned to him and I said, do you have any idea how extraordinary that man is?
Nobody knows who I really am.
Let me tell you exactly what that guy did.
Maybe they just don't give a damn.
And I mean, hats off to someone like him. And
but if I ever need someone to come along,
we do have to, I think, use our voices and try and at least raise awareness or ruffle feathers.
I know you will follow me.
Across Europe and North America and elsewhere, people are fed up with a so-called free market system that has produced grotesque inequality, stagnating living standards, and many calamitous foreign wars without end, and a political stitch-up which leaves the vast majority of people shut out of power.
People now live in England going up, UN estimates. At what stage does the panel and people think this country has had enough?
Right, guys, just to let you know.
Racism has no place.
Justice!
We did not convince millions of natural Labour voters, especially in those parts of the country left behind. Left behind by years of neglect, underinvestment and de-industrialisation. Now we have to face the future together. We're not helped by patronising or lecturing those in our communities who voted to leave. We have to hear their concerns.
Completely close the borders, because it's got to the stage now is
Despicable. It's not about me. It's not about sour grapes. What it's about is that our manifesto offered hope on public ownership, on an education service, on a mental health service, environmental concerns, on an international strategy of peace and justice and democracy and human rights. And all of this mobilised so many people and gave so much hope to people. Little did they know that the party they were funding in order to achieve this, a significant number of very senior officials were working against everything that was
Word
being
coming
said
up in
and
this
done.
book, right? Some of you might take offense.
I'm an anti-racist. That's my life. That's always been my life and will always be my life.
there's no education, schooling, infrastructure.
People use anything to attack me, including that which is outrageous and disgusting.
It's enough. We are sinking.
Practice any form of racism, use any racist language, not acceptable.
Surely someone's got to see common sense and say enough is enough.
Of any sort, be it anti-Semitic,
You've got people flooding into this country that cannot speak English.
Islamophobic,
I come from London. In the National Health Service, everything's written in different languages.
anti-black,
How much is that costing? How much is it costing for the interpreters?
anti-Asian.
Sorry, madam, how much is it costing for the interpreters? I was in hospital last week. The interpreter never turned up for the people who couldn't speak English. She was paid. They all had to go on, and all the radiologists stood around doing nothing.
Park that for a moment, I think.
What sort of country is allowing this tourism to come in? You arrive in a plane, you get free service, you can have your babies, you can just carry on having it all for free.
Using racist and misogynist language.
It is racist, whether or not it feels racist.
Therefore, the attacks so well documented in the Ford report were actually attacks on democracy and attacks on those people that wanted to live in a world of hope. When I was elected leader of the Labour Party, it was never about me. It was about a popular demand for anti-austerity policies.
And keep me strong.
The attacks on me, which have now been analysed and chronicled and dealt with in the Ford report, vindicate everything we said and did in 2015 onwards. And I'm proud of the changes we brought about, very proud all around the country when I meet people who say they were inspired and mobilised by the new mood that we brought to the Labour Party and to politics in this country. If we're going to be condemned for that, then I'm proud to be condemned for that, because I absolutely believe in the power of ordinary people to bring about change. I've spent my life doing that, but you know what? I'm going to spend the rest of my life doing that as well. Feel that an injustice has been done. I think these injustices have to be righted. Wrongs must be righted.